Uh, man, like we lost look like we lost a good one, man. Like we lost a good one. Hey, how's the sound, bro? Can you hear pretty good? Is it all right? Okay, cool. Appreciate it, brother. Before I start spilling my piece, I wanted to make sure that the sound was good to go. Um, what can you really say, right? Um, let a few other people get in here, bro, and I'll then I'll get started. Hope all is well on your end, brother. Bruh. Man, I tell you, I had a feeling something like this would happen. I don't know why, I don't know what, but a few weeks ago, um, I had a feeling. I said, man, I hope that this brother is around for a little while longer, bro, because the work that he was doing, man, and work that he was doing, bro, was definitely needed. So the way that I came to the manosphere, and I've said it on some other streams, but my story gets pretty dark before it gets to where I am and what I do now. The way that I came to the manosphere was through O'Shea Duke Jackson. Um, I had saw a couple of streams of O'Shea's, and I was wondering like, who is this brother? What is he? What is he talking about? So I started watching O'Shea, and I realized that O'Shea wanted to help black men, and he spoke specifically to black men. And I said, hey, I had uh, quite a journey myself. I think that um, I can contribute something to the conversation. O'Shea came out and said, um, I kept hearing him say Kevin Samuels, Kevin Samuels, Kevin Samuels. I'll be honest, the first stream that I watched of Kevin's, I was like, he wasn't as funny as he come off now, or he wasn't as personable as he seemed now. So I was like, man, maybe this guy's not a good fit for me. I don't think that I don't think that his message necessarily, resonates with me. But as I started to listen more and more, and I went back and watched some of his older streams, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm in the right place. I'm in the right place. We started out doing and I text O'Shea earlier. We text back and forth, and um, earlier mediocre tutorials and reviews confirmed it, which is how I knew that it was legit. But it's a tough one, bro. It legitimately at a loss for words, man. But um, Spoke with O'Shea earlier. MTR confirmed it on the Discord. And so we've lost Kevin Samuels, the Godfather himself, and to go to show you how fast life changes. He was just live last night. I actually didn't get a chance to watch it, but he was live last night. For those of you who don't know, of course, I'm Rich Turner. I am one of the moderators on Kevin Samuels' channel. One of the things that I knew was extremely important was to try to give that brother his roses while he was here. I've had people comment on some of my videos and say, "Oh, you a clown for giving this guy $100 super chat. Oh, you a clown for giving this guy a $200 super chat, $300, $400 super chat. That's crazy. Why would you do something like that?" For us, personally, I speak for myself. For me, it was always about trying to give that brother his flowers while he was here, because deep down inside, I felt like these type of people, you know, come by and they gone in the blink of an eye. So I wanted to make sure I could show my appreciation the best way I could, which was, of course, supporting the channel, trying to super chat, making sure I super chat, doing the cash apps. You know, a lot of people were celebrating the passing of this brother, but I think what a lot of people fail to miss is the message is out of the bag now. The message is out of the bag now. So whether or not Kevin is here, or whether or not, with his passing today, the message is still out. A lot of brothers have already taken the baton and are running with it. And I think that as far as really caring about us as a people, more specifically Black people, and then caring about the things that, putting a lot of stuff into perspective that we really should care about as it relates to Black families. How we build those families, how we learn how to get along with each other, how the sisters interact with us as men, how we interact with them, setting the standard for what we should be trying to do with ourselves in order to support a nuclear family. I know that a lot of people didn't like the message. I know that a lot of people tried to drag this brother down. I know that they doxed this brother. I know that they spammed this brother's chats. I know that they sent this brother nasty emails, man, just all kind of stuff. I know they tried to do a lot of different stuff to this brother, but he stayed the course. And he dove on the grenade that was a lot of the worries of Black men and was a lot of the concerns of Black men. And so for that, I'm forever grateful for this brother being able to get the message out, and for him putting his neck that far out on the line for us. Shout out to Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews. Shout out to brother Dennis Sperling. I just watched Uncle D live. He had a lot of behind the scenes footage of brother Kevin that he shared on his live stream. Watched him deal with the situation, and I won't mention the other YouTuber's name, but I watched him deal with the situation with so much class and with so much maturity. And it really helped me understand that when you are on your purpose, you can't let anybody derail you. And he had every single type of distraction you can think of, but he stayed the course because he believed in us, and he believed in what he was telling us, and he believed in the message that he was putting out. He took all of the negativity that comes with speaking with Black women and really giving them a window into what we think, what we feel, our concerns. And all he got in return was being called gay, being called kitten heels, talking about him being divorced, talking about, all of these different things about his personal life. But at the end of the day, I was so glad to see that his brothers and his Black men, and even a lot of sisters, supported him too. I was so glad to see that the message was getting out and it wasn't falling on dead ears for everybody. For those of us who are more traditional or lean a little bit more conservative or believe in a woman and a man being together and getting together, raising a family, raising children, took that message, man, and he pushed it as far as he could possibly push it before his candle went out. I think this sets the stage for a lot of us to really look at his life, look at his message, look at all the things that he did. And he gave us a blueprint on how to move through this world as Black men, but he also gave us a blueprint on how to move through this YouTube space as content creators. I have a lot of research to do. I have a lot more videos to go back and watch of Kevin's because I wasn't there when he was at 1,000 views. I wasn't there when he was at 2,500 views. I wasn't there when he was at 3,000 views. I came in a little bit on a later end, but I think that he recognized that I wanted to support his message. I think he recognized that I appreciated the work that he was doing and the conversations that I've had with O'Shea. And we talked about before he brought me onto his channel. And he called it out. He said, "Hey, I know you moderate for Kevin Samuels. Now I moderate for TLA and for Brother Dennis Sperling." But we talked about Kevin, and I told O'Shea, I said, "Man, I know that this brother catches hell behind the scenes. I can only imagine what he goes through behind the scenes for the stuff that we don't see." And the coldest part about his passing today is that was one of the very few times that I didn't watch his stream. Normally, every time he goes live, I'm right there cracking jokes, interacting with the regulars on the channel. Of course, blocking out a lot of the riffraff. But last night was one of the few times where I didn't catch a live. I listened to it on the way to work this morning. Still didn't get a chance to finish it, but it go to show you how funny life is, man. I heard this guy say that life is a game that none of us are gonna make it out of alive. And we all know it to be true, right? We all want to maximize our days on this planet, but I think when you look at people like Kevin, and you look at the body of work that they put out, and you look at the work ethic, and you look at the grind, and you look at the way that he stayed the course, this is an exact blueprint that a lot of us can roll into our normal day-to-day life. Normally, I come to you all, I'm sitting here in a t-shirt, might be shaved, might not be shaved, but tonight, man, I took a real long, hard look at some of the things that I want to accomplish in my life and the work and the effort that it'll take to accomplish those things. And I'm so thankful that I had the chance to work with this brother. I'm so thankful that I had the chance to be a part of his blow up. I'm grateful that I had a chance to try and help out in some form or fashion, whether it's in super chats or whether it's in kind of moderating the chat room, whether it's interacting with some of the brothers and some of the sisters in the chat. It's such an honor to be able to say that I worked with this brother because I had a chance to witness greatness. Every now and then he would shout me out on the channel. I know that he's watched some of the content that I put out. And I hope that a lot of brothers who had the opportunity to really listen to his message, and a lot of the brothers who watched the streams and were in the chat, in the chats, I hope that what we take away from this is the foundation that he laid out if you're going to be a content creator, but also the message that he gave us as far as how to move in our everyday life, how to respectfully demand respect, how to take our image seriously, how to interact with some of our sisters. One of the most important things he said on his stream, and I never forget it, and it resonated with me too because I've been listening to his message, and whether or not I agree with everything Kevin said is not important. I supported him as much as I could. One of the things that he said was, for the brothers, you have to know how to exercise grace also when you're interacting with the sister. He said it's important to exercise grace. Nobody wants to be with a stubborn asshole. That will never get any kind of sound bites. That will never get any kind of attention. That won't go viral. Media Takeout won't pick that up. World Star won't pick that up. Bossip won't pick that up. Shade Room won't pick that up. All of these different outlets that have drug us through the mud and have pushed an agenda that a lot of us traditional black men don't necessarily agree with, they won't pick that piece up. When he came out and he said, hey, brothers, you got to learn how to exercise grace. Nobody wants to be with a stubborn or stuck-up asshole. That really resonated with me because all the work that I put in to get to the point of being a Blue Henry, somebody who gets up every day and goes out in the real world and does the work and really care about us and grow brothers and sisters and work long hours and coach and mentor and take calls in the middle of the night and pop up and go into my place of work when I don't necessarily have to. I watched his work ethic and I said, man, you know what? I want to be able to mimic that. I want to be able to have some kind of positive effect. I want to be able to, watch somebody grow and be proud of them and really be a resource and really be a mentor to them. Watching the way he worked and watching the way that he cared about things that us brothers, us black men care about, and not just black men, but men in general, but specifically us. Watch the way he got on every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And he laid it all out on the line. And he showed his face. And he was vulnerable. But he demanded respect. That's a true roadmap for us to go by, to live your life that way, to really be out in the open. And Brother Sperling talks about it all the time. Dennis Sperling talks about it all the time. When people call into his stream, hey, show your face. We don't hide behind avatars. Show your face. Kevin put it all out there. And one can only imagine if he really gave his life up to get our message out. No, it's on us. It's our responsibility to do exactly what he said, try to become the best versions of ourselves. He introduced therapy into the black psyche, whereas before, nobody was really talking about therapy. You started to see over time, women would call in or brothers would call in, and then all of a sudden everybody's going to therapy. Whether or not it's true, he introduced therapy into the black psyche. He introduced therapy into the black man's psyche, into the black woman's psyche, and told us, hey, all of us have damage. All of us have some kind of damage. Go and talk to somebody. Go sit down and talk to somebody. I remember him telling sisters, the world doesn't have to suffer you. Things that nobody else on the internet was doing at that level. Nobody else came out and talked to us or cared enough to talk to us and say, man, this is how you move in the world. This is how you operate in a professional space. This is the type of respect that you should demand. This is how you get that respect. Nobody else cared enough to come out and even have a conversation, but this brother got up, sat in front of those cameras, and he gave us all of him. And to think that, now the brothers like the MTRs, the mediocre tutorials and reviews, the lead attorneys, the Dennis Sperling, the Dr. Tia Son Johnson, the O'Shea Duke Jacksons, the Antoine Wades, the Antoine Hatchets. All of these brothers are really a representation of exactly what it is that he wanted our image to look like. I can't put myself in that crowd. I'm still a work in progress. I'm going to tell you. I'm not going to even sit up here and act like I'm something that I'm not. I'm still a work in progress, but I care enough to get up and go out and do the work because I saw this brother do the work day in and day out 3 times a week on YouTube. But then he was going live on Instagram. He's the whole reason why I created an Instagram account. It's for words, man. And I know some people are celebrating. I've seen the tweets. But I think that it's so sad that he tried so hard to get the message out. Got so much pushback, and people are celebrating their own, essentially our own downfall. Because his message was right on par with exactly what it is that we should be talking about. Came out and he told brothers, hey, you need to get on your P's and Q's. You want the responsibility of a woman, then you need to be able to take care of that woman. You need to be able to, in order for you to demand what it is that you say you want, you have to be a certain caliber of brother, and this is what you need to do to get there. To the sisters who a lot of times live in this fantasy world of Instagram, this fantasy world of Twitter, and whatever else, he told them, hey, the reality of your situation is that you're not going to get the type of brother that you think you are. He did a lot of work to level set a lot of his callers. When they thought they were 10s, he told them that they weren't, and he was right. For the brothers who thought they were high value and they called in, he told them that they weren't, and he was right. One of the things I respect and loved about him is he never downed us blue-collar brothers. He never downed us. He always said, hey, those are my guys. Those are the guys who build. And he was right. Nobody ever cared enough to come out and really put into perspective what it is that us blue-collar brothers do. A lot of people use a lot of the stuff that we build. A lot of people enjoy a lot of the stuff that we build, but nobody ever said, hey, man, I know what you guys are doing behind the scenes. I appreciate y'all. So he spoke for the blue-collar brothers. He spoke for the white-collar brothers. He pushed education, but he never downed us blue-collar brothers for not having those advanced degrees. I myself, I'm a tradesman. I always gave a shout out to the blue-collar brothers. He specifically said, hey, those are my guys. The blue-collar guys, those are my guys. You think about how sharp you have to be able to cover a whole spectrum, from the guy that's working in the warehouse that wants to be a high-value man all the way clean on up to the guy who may be a multimillionaire. He covered the whole spectrum. And he specifically talked to us when nobody else was. If they were talking to you, they were telling you were a deadbeat father. If they were talking to us, they were telling us all the things that we did bad. They came out and said that we deadbeat fathers. They came out and said that we broke. They came out and said all of these different things about what a black man is. This brother came out, put his neck on the line and said, no, that's not true. The numbers say different. And then he backed it up with stats. And once he did that and they tried to move the goalposts, he reeled them back in and said, no, that's not true. This is where we are in reality. Not only that, a lot of the sisters who felt like they were too good to give the average brother an opportunity, he reeled them in. No, that's not where you are. This is exactly where you are. A lot of times sisters would call in and say, well, I have this degree, or I'm still at this level even though I have kids. And he would say, no. When you get out here on the market, this is exactly where you are. You can tell by the way that this brother ran his channel that he actually loved his people. He loved black people. Why would you risk all of that? Why would you risk your sanity, come out and have these conversations with thousands of people multiple times a week if you didn't have some kind of affinity towards your people? He just did it in a different way. He didn't do it as a Hebrew Israelite. He didn't do it as somebody who was in the Nation of Islam. He didn't do it as somebody who was a part of the 5% nation. He did it as a brother in a suit, looking professional, coming out speaking directly to black men and black women, and accepting all of the other races and all of the other groups who wanted to be a part of the conversation. But he talked specifically to us. That alone should tell you that this brother was, history would prove that he was right the whole time. Now, granted, I'll tell you something else that he did that a lot of people will never call out. When people would get into the chat and they would just completely obliterate or try to say hurtful things to us as sisters, he would tell them, hey, man, you showing who you are. Hey, you showing who you are. Granted, we joke, we interact with the audience, but so many times, and what a lot of people don't see, is we block a lot of comments out of that comment section. We time a lot of people out. We hide a lot of comments because there's a difference between joking and having fun and playing a dozen sometimes. There's a difference between doing that and just completely trying to destroy the callers. We took a heavy hit today. But I find comfort in knowing that there are a lot of brothers out here that are able to take that message, articulate it far better than I can. That's why I focus on growth of the brothers, growth of trying to get those brothers from being hourly to salary. That's my small part of the bigger picture. That's where I can contribute. I don't get into the dating part because I'm still working on myself as in regards to, in regards to dating. I still got a lot of work I need to do, but what I do day in and day out, growing brothers, growing sisters, putting people in position to change their life, putting people in position to get to a point where they can take care of their families, putting them in a position and giving them the game on how to move up in the industry. I can do that. That's my contribution. A lot of what he teaches as far as dating, I've taken that information and it's changed the way that I move in the dating space. As somebody who would be considered a Henry, it's changed the way that I date. It's changed what I will put up with. It's changed my level of patience when it comes to interacting with certain people. But it's also opened me up to be understanding that sometimes when you interact with our sisters, and this is a part that people never mention. I learned from Kevin that when you are interacting with our sisters, it's a lot of stuff that they don't know. It's a lot of stuff about us that they don't know. And even though a lot of them are celebrating, they don't realize how much he laid out on the line to try and make us better for each other. So not only did he level set the women, but he level set a lot of us brothers too. He told us exactly where we are on the open market, the work that we need to do, whether it's through therapy, whether it's in the gym, whether it's professionally. He shot straight, man. For a lot of women, I remember they called in and they say, "Hey, you're like a dad. Hey, you like an uncle, that shoots straight and just tell us like it is." I was on Brother Dennis Sperling's channel a couple weeks back on one of his live streams. And we were talking about the brilliance of Kevin. You don't have to necessarily agree with everything he say, but look at how he packaged the message. Look at how he's putting that information out there. I think, man, what a time to be alive. A lot of us were so blessed to watch the way this brother moved and to watch the way he worked. And I wish that more people had the opportunity to hear him live while he was living, because his channel views are going to go through the roof, because there are so many people who never had an opportunity to listen to a full live stream or to experience a full live stream, but they'll go back in those archives and they'll look at a lot of those videos and say, damn, man, I wish I had been there, or I wish I could be in the chat room when that brother was live. I wish I knew about him before he passed. Hindsight is always 20/20. And that's the sad part. That's the sad part. But the information is out there. He served his purpose. He came in and his light was bright, extremely bright. And what he shined a light on is the disconnect between black men and black women. How do we close that gap? How do we exercise some grace with each other? There's more to his message than beat up on black women. That was never his message. But you think about all of the programming that our sisters have had. He had to come in at the angle that he did in order to break through that hard exterior, to break through all of those years of programming that a lot of our sisters have had. He had to come in and be a bull in a china shop to break through, to get through the system. And in the process of doing that, as the message slowly started to penetrate all of those years of programming, all of those years of being misinformed, all of those years of being given bad information, as the message started to seep in, he also turned around to the brothers and said, all right, we're moving the needle. You still have work to do too. I spoke with Deshaun earlier, the brother that does all of the timestamps for the channel. And we talked for about 30, 45 minutes, between 30, 40 minutes. And just chopping it up as brothers. We talked back and forth. And it hadn't been confirmed yet. But once I found out, I told him, I said, yeah, man, it's true. All the way up until that point, I was telling him, man, I don't think it's true. I hadn't heard nothing from O'Shea. I hadn't heard nothing from anybody else. Nobody's posted anything about it. But a part of me was worried because I was like, man, he didn't come out on Instagram and say nothing. He didn't, post a short on YouTube and say, hey, I'm okay, I'm good. And when MTR confirmed it on the Discord server behind the scenes, I felt two things at the same time that I've never felt. I felt hurt and I felt inspired at the exact same time. And that's an odd feeling to have. I felt hurt and I felt inspired. I felt hurt because I was like, damn, man, a part of me knew this would happen. Of course, we knew that we couldn't have him around for forever, but damn, man. Definitely a loss. Man, I was Brother Dennis was live just before I went live, man, and I watched his stream and I watched him share all of those videos of Kevin and of Brother Sperling's fiance and of them having a good time. And he was just living life. In the videos, you can see Kevin enjoying himself. They in Miami for his birthday, and I was just sitting there looking at it like, man, that brother lived his life. He enjoyed his life. I know he had some hiccups and some struggles along the way, but he enjoyed his life. And I looked at that as a brother watching this other brother who, had been twice married, been twice divorced. And I looked at how he bounced back and still chased his purpose and still accomplished his goals. And it really reminded me of under my situation. I'd never been married, but I had a lot of hiccups along the way. And I couldn't help but think, man, I'm glad that I had a chance to see, and I'm glad that he was so transparent with what he went through, because it really sets the tone for this is how you bounce back. This is how you bounce back with a vengeance. I want to shout out to some of the sisters that did a lot of supporting of Kevin while he was here. So the Melanie Kings, the Luke Hazleys, the so many. I can't name all of them, but shout out to Gail at Night. Shout out to all of those sisters who came and heard the message, and even though it was hard to hear, they came and they listened and they supported with $8. Shout out to all the brothers, the Theo Waffs, the lead attorneys, the MTRs, the Alpha Male Strategists, the O'Shea Duke Jacksons, who played a important and pivotal role in getting Kevin to come to the manosphere. The BGS Ibmores, the Tiosan Johnson, the Dr. Tiosan Johnson. I appreciate those brothers for, making space comfortable enough for that brother to really be himself and to flourish. Time will show us that we really lost a good one today. Take up too much time. I appreciate those of you who dropped by, watch some of the content, or watch some of the stream. I pray for those who are celebrating this brother's passing. The dangerous side of that is history will show that this brother was on the right side of history. For those of us who supported him, we'll continue to support the other brothers in the space. When I say support them brothers, we'll say it with our pockets. Because that was super important. He talked about that. Shout out to the sisters who supported Kevin and support a lot of the other content creators. And I want to wish that brother to rest in paradise. I want to say that we thank him for all the work that he did, and we thank him for putting himself out there the way he did. I would ask that the sisters would go back and watch some full streams. Don't go by what goes viral. Go back and watch some of his content and really listen to what he's saying. As a black man, as an older black man who's walked this planet far longer than I have, far longer than a lot of us have, go back and listen to some of his streams and see exactly what it is that he was talking about. He was such a sharp brother that if you're not careful, you will miss how woke he actually was. And I'm not saying woke in the 2020 sense. I'm saying woke as somebody who really cared about us. Appreciate y'all watching, man. Rest in paradise to Brother Kevin. And I think that's all I got for tonight. Big bro gonna catch up with y'all. Y'all be good. Bet.